this guy in the chat, Mutilix. Hey, Mutilix. He says, that was a premature pop. That was a bad pop. That was bad can cracks, baby. I apologize. He says to me, in the chat just now, he goes, here's Jaffe. Why is he king of the XBots? I'm not king of the XBots, fellas. I just calls him like I see him. I'm an umpire. I'm here just judging. I'm like Uatu the Watcher in Marvel Comics. I'm watching the industry, and I'm commenting on it. I assume what you're talking about is the headline that says God of War sales plunge. They did plunge to some extent. Pretty big extent, but it doesn't mean necessarily what it sounds like it means. That's why I put it here, because there's some data that came out that I want to talk to you about. It's fascinating to me. All right. So we're going to get to that. Welcome to Gabbin' Games. Good to see everybody. Alan Rodriguez has been a member for 20 months. He says, I love me, guys. Are you a leprechaun, sir? He says 20 months. Thank you, buddy. Diet Soda Soldiers. I love that. Thank you. He goes, I love me, guys. I'm 20 months in. Well, thank you, buddy. We appreciate that absolute kindness and generosity. Ahmed drops first super chat of the night. He says, Jaffe, say C. I don't know if that's some World Cup soccer thing going on. It's football. It's not soccer. Whatever. Fuck you. Regardless, though, thank you, Ahmed. I appreciate that very kind and generous super chat, buddy. Thank you, sir. Stonerface says Xbox fans are foaming at the mouth. Come on, man. Listen, I'm a fan of all of it. I have been playing. Okay, I want to tell you what I've been playing. Let's just start right. We'll get to God of War. We'll get to all that nonsense. But not the God of War. So Jaffe called the God of War nonsense. I mean, fuck off. What do you give me if I eat this Taco Bell pack of hot sauce? Straight up. Why is Jojo D posing with a mannequin behind me? Because Jojo D is a member of the Cult of Calypso. And if you didn't know, anybody who's a Cult of Calypso member or higher can pretty much send whatever they want there to the picture frame. All the details are over on the Discord. So it'll show up live. It'll show up in videos. Before we get into video game news, I just want to see how good you guys are, how smart you guys are. I ordered a couple of games, board games to play with the family over Thanksgiving. We got multiple generations, everyone from my youngest, he's 17, up to our oldest, who's probably 74, 75. So I picked up this Trivial Pursuit edition, but it's the edition from just the last 10 years, okay? So I just want to ask you like 3 questions. I want to see how doable these are. You ready? Okay, question number 1, I want to see who the first person is to get it. Who's the trivia champ of Gabbin' Games? Here we go. What horror movie villain in a top hat became an unlikely icon for the LGBTQ community in 2017? I don't fucking know. What horror movie villain in a top hat became an unlikely icon for the LGBTQ community? Oh, Babadook. Yeah, okay, so Ravnos got it first. Babadook, that's right. I haven't even seen that motion picture. All right, here we go. Here's the next one. Yeah, Stonerface is Trump. Yeah. The LGBT community just loves them some Donald Trump, sir. Okay. What word completes the viral phrase about bodybuilding that starts with, do you even? Come on now, give me the whole phrase. Do you even? Yeah, Brad Glasgow got it. It's lift bro. It's not bro, it's lift bro. All right, last one. So far, it seems like perhaps these are going to work well. Because they cover like video games, they cover binge TV, they cover internet memes, shit like that. All right, last one. And I'll be tossing these out during the Gabbin' Games Thanksgiving special. Oh, you were curious if the Gabbin' Games Thanksgiving special is happening. Of course, it happens every year. It happens every cock-a-doodie goddamn year. I'll give you details on that a little bit later. Final one before we get to video games. Okay. What fictional character said to know nothing was the butt of the joke in a bunch of 2010 memes? fictional character he was said to, quote, know nothing, end quote, was the star of a bunch of 2010 memes. This is a little harder. I didn't know this. I didn't have a clue on this one. But you got to, yeah, there you go. Iron Mike got it. Jon Snow. Prince Green got it. Jon Snow. All right. Well, I'll hit you guys back with more trivia that I'll actually have prizes for and shit like that. Yeah. The Sousa says, Phil Spencer, for the Thanksgiving special, I'll give you some details on those pretty soon. Okay. Let's talk about the video games. What's with the new hairstyle? It's just, I'm not wearing a hat tonight. That's all. Brad Glasgow says the 75-year-old has no chance at these questions. Yeah, but I'm just reading you guys the internet ones. I haven't read the movies or the pop culture or any of that shit. So we'll see what happens. Maybe he'll be like, fuck this shit. I want no part of it. And he may be right. He may be right. I want to tell you what I finished today. I rarely finish games. You're not going to believe this. You might believe it, but I rarely finish games. And I streamed this game the other night, and I stopped playing it about 2 hours in, and I loved the opening of this game. It had a Cracker Jack opening. It was just fucking great. And then it ended up just kind of like, it stuck me with a character that just wasn't very likable. And obviously all characters don't need to be likable, but this one, they let me control him for a while, and I'm like, God, he's insufferable. But I still felt drawn to come back to it because the character and the story was really cool. And I came back and I really fucking enjoyed this game. It's one of my favorite things I've played this year. I understand where it sits. I understand it's The Devil in Me. It's the final season 1 Dark Pictures anthology. It's sitting at a 73 right now on Metacritic. It is not, it has many problems. It has many quality of life problems. It has technical problems. It has pacing problems. But here's what I loved about it, though. The story, and with the exception of that one guy and one other character, and the characters were so fucking interesting. Like, I think H.H. Holmes, who's the serial killer who built basically a hotel in Chicago called the World's Fair Hotel, this is real history, that was filled with traps and all kinds of moving walls and shit, and tubes under beds that he would gas people to death. He was the most prolific serial killer at the time, known as America's first serial killer. It's all based on that, right? So it is so good in that respect that for me, I was willing to kind of overlook the other stuff that was problematic. And I'll do a review on this soon, but there was a lot of things that you're like, oh, dude, you should have fixed that. That's easy to fix, blah, blah, blah. The one thing it got me thinking and a little bummed, a little disappointed was, horror is really probably, if you just sort of look at it from a standpoint of profit, in film is the most successful genre. You don't have to spend a lot of money to make them. Fans are just voraciously, desiring this shit. And every now and then one comes out like Get Out that just blows the fucking roof off it. And it goes well outside of the horror fans. Silence of the Lambs, another one. And I love that a game like Devil in Me, which clearly is no God of War Ragnarok, it is no, 500-man Assassin's Creed Valhalla game. It's none of that, but they can still make a really compelling, good video game. The problem is the price is still a lot. Cost me $40 to buy it. I wouldn't spend $40 on it if I didn't know how I would feel about it going in. And the bigger problem, unlike with film, is just games take so long. Games dominate your life. And so, Ragnarok's a fucking 40-hour epic, and Marvel Snap has taken all my free time lately. And it's not like a movie that you can watch this great Oscar-winning movie in 3 hours, and then the next day you're able to watch, some sort of cheesy but really good horror film. You're stuck with that Oscar bait video game. Could be for over a month, could be more if it's a service-based game. So I really don't know how this is all going to play out, if we're ever going to be able to really get a marketplace that can support the kind of AA games like this. But boy, it sure was fun to play it. I really dug it. The Devil in Me. I'll put a review up tomorrow, but if you're interested, check it out. It's not great in terms of just the way, you know, there's a lot of problems with it. But if you like horror and you think the story is cool, it's really good. It's really good. I really, really enjoyed it. So, you know, keep that in mind if you're curious. But right now it's sitting at a 73, 74 Metacritic. User score is not very good. It's a 5.7. I don't know what to tell you. I loved it. Thought it was really, really fun. They announced today that Star Wars is going to be announced. The new Star Wars, Stig's new game, is going to be announced. Jedi Fallen Order. This is the sequel, which is called Star Wars Jedi. What is this new one called? Jedi Survivor, which picks up, I guess, with Carl Castis was the guy's name who was in the first one. They're going to announce the release date. They're going to have a brand new trailer and confirm pre-orders. Who gives a fuck about pre-orders? At the Game Awards. So this will be December 8th. We'll get a little bit more information about that. So, you know, Dan Root is saying Sony is banning shovelware and easy platinums, apparently. Have I seen that? I haven't, but I don't think it's a bad call. I mean, if you've been to the new games list whenever they put up new games, I don't know if it's every day at this point, it really is a shovelware shit show. And I don't mind that because there are gems in there sometimes. I don't mind it, but boy, I'll tell you what, the way it's presented right now, it just makes the whole fucking store look terrible. It's just like, there's no sense of quality control. There's no sense of, you know, is this kind of even worth your time? Yeah, so I appreciate that. Dan just sent me the link to it. Let's check it out together, shall we? It's the first time I'm seeing this. It's coming up. PlayStation banned shovelware and easy platinum games. Thank you, Dan. On the PlayStation Store. The recent wave of reskin games finally coming to an end. They sent out a letter to all the devs, and they said shovelware, games are reskin, non-games, games made just for platinum. That's going to be shadow banned or delisted, with a chance that developers get banned from publishing any more games. Now, I will tell you something. I will tell you something, though. I played a game on stream last week called something like I'm in Love with Your Dead Grandmother, and I haven't gone back to get the platinum. I hope they don't put that game in this category because it was really fucking fun. It was really fucking stupid and really fucking fun, and I enjoyed it. But I know what they're talking about, and I'm not booted up to show you right now, so I don't want to I don't want to waste anybody's time. But if you go to your PlayStation, either on 4 or 5, and you look up, you know, new games, after you get past, you know, Call of Duty, God of War, all the big ones, you'll start to see more and more of these games that are like, what the fuck am I looking at? This is so utterly horseshit bullshit. You goddamn right, Brandon Schmitz. Goddamn is. I appreciate you subbing, buddy. But check it out. It's really interesting, and it's good to know they're going to be putting a little bit of quality control in there, because I think right now you buy shit and you're like, Jesus Christ, man. Somebody in the chat's asking, maybe this is because of PlayStation Stars, where you basically get, you know, trophies will lead to actual stars, which can lead to monetary rewards, or at least like PlayStation games that you can purchase from the store without actually spending money. I get why maybe that could be one of the motivators behind this. That was Masochista asking that. No, I'm in Love with Your Dead Grandmother is not a porn game. It is surreal, strange. I'll just show you. It's on my channel if you want to watch us play it, but I'm in love. There you go. I'm in Love with Your Dead Grandmother. It is as incredibly dumb as it sounds. It's just a live action video game, FMV. All you do is make choices about, you know, they just give you like a spreadsheet list of choices, and then they show you a film clip based on the choices. And the guy is just totally, clearly taking the piss. He doesn't care. And he's standing in front of things that look like Blue's Clues. It is absolutely bizarre, but it's a great deal of fun if you have a head for those kinds of things. So this is I'm in Love with Your Dead Grandmother. I recommend it if you can handle this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's not AAA quality, but it doesn't pretend to be. It doesn't want to be. And it is an easy way to get a platinum if you care about those sorts of things. Okay, listen to this. Call of Duty Warzone 2. Even though there's been a lot of bugs, there's been a lot of problems with it for a lot of people. I've had pretty good connections, pretty good games. But this game has welcomed 25 million players already in less than a week. Call of Duty Warzone 2. We've been playing it a bunch on the stream with Gavin Game members. We've been playing Warzone 2 as well as playing Modern Warfare 2. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fucking fun. I'm having a great time with it. I'm enjoying it. So, congrats to those folks over there making a game that a lot of people are going to be playing this Thanksgiving. So that happened. Well, listen to this. Warzone 2 killed multiplayer, says Da Vinci. What do you mean it killed multiplayer? They just said they had 25 million. They had 25 million people come through and play. What do you mean? Microsoft has said, hey, Sony, relax. Relax, Sony. How about this? 10 years. That's what they say, 10 years. We will guarantee you 10 years Call of Duty will be on PlayStation once we sign this deal. Okay? Maybe, wouldn't surprise me if they said, and there's an opportunity to extend that 10 years by another 10 years or 5 years or whatever. Well, Jim Ryan's not interested. Here's what happened. Xbox told the New York Times it offered 10 years to Sony about 10 days ago. Sony didn't comment on that particular claim, okay? Phil Spencer basically said, the idea that we would write a contract that says the word forever in it, I think is a little silly. Well, you may think it's silly, Phil, but there is a word. I think it's called in perpetuity. Is that the word? Novodamus might know. In perpetuity, which means basically forever, as long as these terms are met. You don't even need the as long as these terms are met, but more often than not, like the Sony Pictures Marvel Spider-Man deal, that Spider-Man deal is forever. As long as Sony Pictures makes a Spider-Man movie, whatever that is defined in the contract, every 18 months. So don't fucking poo-poo the perpetuity idea. But this is what he says. This is Phil Spencer saying, the idea we would write a contract that says the word forever in it, I think is a little bit silly. But to make a longer term commitment than Sony would be comfortable with, regulators would be comfortable with, I have no issue at all with that. And so, I mean, let's not paint Phil to be the good guy or the bad guy here. He's doing business just like Jim Ryan is, trying to do best for his company. But we know what this means. This basically means Call of Duty, you can put Call of Duty on PlayStation forever, as long as it's on Xbox on Game Pass. And that's what Sony really obviously doesn't want. The thing that I do find troubling is in September when the UK Competition and Markets Authority said this. They said they consider Call of Duty to be sufficiently important enough that losing access to it or losing access on competitive terms could significantly impact Sony's revenues and user base. To which I say, so? Your job is not to help Sony or hurt Sony. Your job is to say, do these guys, are they hurting your customers by doing business in a way that impacts the people that you are paid to represent? And newsflash, that's not Sony. In fact, Microsoft says they believe that the CMA is adopting Sony's complaints without the appropriate level of critical review. And then Jim Ryan comes out and says, nah, it's not true. We're not misleading regulators. He says Microsoft is a tech giant with a long history of dominating industries, and it is highly likely that the choices gamers have today will disappear if this deal goes ahead. I'm just starting to really not like Jim Ryan as a human. I know that's terrible because he's doing his fucking job. But it's like, motherfucker, you got 10 years to knock Call of Duty off its goddamn perch. Figure it out, old man. Fucking figure it out. And then the idea, what a bunch of jumbled bullshit when he says, it is highly likely that the choices gamers have today will disappear if this deal goes ahead. Sure, some of them will. Like, if they make a Psychonauts 3, which they probably won't, it probably won't be on PlayStation. Yes, but you saying that blanket statement could cover anything. You may as well kept your fucking gob shut. Mr. K says, but Jaffe, what he did worked. I think it's lame, but it worked. Sure. I understand. I mean, I'm not belittling Jim Ryan for doing his job. It is in a PlayStation owner's best interest to continue to have Call of Duty not only be on PlayStation, but never go to Game Pass. Of course, I get it. But there's a point where it's like, man, let it go. Aquastorm says, Jaffe, why do you always side with Microsoft? Because in this case, they're right. Right? I mean, in this case, unless you're painting the world like the video game industry is not competitive. When do I get to play God of War on PlayStation? Right? When do I get to play day one Last of Us Factions, whatever they're going to end up calling it, on my Switch? Right? I mean, it's competition. I'm not siding. In fact, I'm saying if you are Sony, of course this is what you want him to do because it's good for his customers. But there is a point where you look at it and you say, man, you know, it's fucking lame. It's just fucking lame. It comes off as fucking, you know, just wimpy, I guess. But Jaffe, isn't Game Pass ruining the games industry as we know it? I don't know what that means, CW. That's interesting comparison, Stonerface. Stonerface says Jim Ryan needs to take a hike just like Disney's last CEO. I mean, if you don't know what's going on there, Bob Iger, who if anyone can be a fan of executives, I'm a fan of Bob Iger. I've read his book. I've loved what he's done at Disney. And then he stepped aside and gave it to the head of the theme park division, who became the new CEO. And he had it for a year and a half, 2 years. And then suddenly, last night it was revealed that they're bringing Bob Iger back. And it's just like, because the guy was running it into the ground. He was a terrible hire for that particular job. So do I think Jim Ryan's that kind of guy? Kind of sounds like it. Iger gave us Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. He also gave us the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He also gave us Disney Plus television with all the Star Wars shows. Nobody gets, nobody gets everything right. Well, he's back for 2 years to find a replacement. Can't wait. But he's also back to still do the job. He's still going to run the company the way he did before in terms of what his job is. Steffi, I'm sorry. I just can't agree with you. All that stuff sucks. Really? Then Steffi, buddy, my friend, if all that stuff sucks, I mean, I respect your opinion, but I mean, the Marvel Cinematic Universe sucks. All the Star Wars shows sucks. Having Disney Plus, so, I mean, really? Okay. I mean, what do you want? You want to go back to the Phantom Menace? That's what Star Wars was before. MCU is filmmaking by the numbers, says Steffi. So it's not trying to be The Irishman. It's fucking big superhero movies. They entertain billions of people around the globe. What's the problem? You don't have to go see them. Are you really upset that you can't find a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie that has the same artistic angst and juice as like a Sofia Coppola film? It's not what they're about. Well, I don't even agree with that. Matt DeMarco says Joker transcended comic movies. No offense, Matt DeMarco. You know I love you. But that's spoken like somebody who's embarrassed to be a comic book fan. Joker, which I haven't seen all of it, to be fair, but it wouldn't surprise me if I watched it and said, whoa, that was awesome and wonderful. And I love Joaquin Phoenix. I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying that the idea that it transcended comics as if comics are some kind of lesser form, and Joker, because it played it straight, suddenly arrived. I find that horseshit. I think I can enjoy Spider-Man 2 just as much as I can enjoy Goodfellas, and I love them both. Phantom Menace is awesome. Come on, man. All right. Anyway, well, Steffi, you know I love you, but I just don't agree with you. Okay, let's move on, though. Listen to this. Tonight, okay, you're a prequel guy, Christian, but that's probably because you were a kid when they came out, correct? I don't know anyone who is an adult. I don't know many adults. That would say, oh wow, the new trilogy was great. I do think Revenge of the Sith was pretty good. But Phantom Menace, come on now. Phantom Menace is a horrible film. It's got some great world building in it, but it's a terrible. Hey, look at my chance cube. Hey, come on, man. Fuck you, Alex S., you son of a bitch. All right, let's get going. Listen, tonight, I'm excited for this. In fact, speaking of Alex, Alex is in the chat talking about this game that drops tonight from Flying Wild Hog and Focus Home Interactive, Evil West. And he's like, I've seen a couple of messages throughout the day where you've kind of said like, oh, it's not getting good reviews. I don't think that's accurate. I'll show you the reviews right now. Point being, the game comes out tonight. It'll be out at 11 o'clock. I will be buying it if I'm awake enough. It's only a couple hours away. I will be absolutely streaming it tonight if I'm awake, but I will be buying it for sure. I'm excited. It's sitting at a 73 Metacritic, okay? Most of the reviews of this game, it's out on Steam now, says Fuzzy. Okay, I don't want to skip it. Why would you say skip it? Ravenous says skip the game. Fuzzy, you just played 2 hours. Okay, I want to know what you think, but hang on a second, because my understanding of the game is that the combat is great. It is very old school in the sense that the level design, it's not just that it's linear, but it's kind of very basic, but apparently it's a lot of fun. It feels like an older generation, like PS3 title. Kind of reminds me of when I played Samurai Jack, which I loved that game from a few years back. It was a really fun game, and it was more of an old school linear single player action adventure game. So when I look at the reviews on this, it says, this guy gave it a 60 NME. He says, dumb, fun, and full of Western slang, Evil West has snuck out into a crowded release season with a unique selling point, fun, with very little nonsense. There's a part of me that is excited about that because I'm tired of all this shit being so fucking, just self-righteous and shit, man. But the biggest bad part, Ravenous, have you played it? I mean, what did you think? Fuzzy just played it tonight. What did you think? And don't tell me how I just finished the game today, motherfucker. I just talked about it. Fuzzy says the game, Evil West, very, very old school level design, very fun, but not exceptionally mechanically satisfying, but fun. Cutscenes are very good. And how much does it cost? Is it a $70, $60 game? It's probably not worth $60, Ravnos. I agree with you on that from what I've heard. Fuzzy says it's a $50 game. So I don't know. I'm looking at the worst reviews in here. Let's see. Let me the worst reviews in here. If you go down, I just read you one of them. Okay. VG247 says, however you feel about it, the asking price is too steep. The nature of its level design, limited enemies, forgettable story will get in the way of your enjoyment, even if you're only there for the combat. Okay. I mean, that's fair. Like I said, I could see that you're, the price could be too much. Game Watcher says Evil West old school sensibilities are not what drags it down, although its linear levels might not appeal to everyone. Its combat feels glorious when it clicks, but it struggles to find its stride. If you're looking for an excuse to brutally execute vampires with an arsenal that looks, sounds, and feels great, there's enough fun to warrant picking it up as long as you keep its flaws in mind. I guess kind of that's sort of the thing. Gungrave Gore comes out tomorrow, and I will be getting that as well. I mean, that's on Game Pass. But yeah, tomorrow's actually a pretty big day for new games. Andre, I finished the new Dark Pictures game. I loved it. It's got tons of flaws, but I literally finished it like 2 hours ago, and I'm very happy with it as a game. I really enjoyed it. Gungrave, though, as Ravenos was just saying, this will be out tomorrow. I don't know what the normal time is that these guys upload their shit. But as I've said before, Gungrave is, I think, based on a manga. I don't know if it's an anime, but I played the first Gungrave on PS2 as research for the very first God of War. This is the new one. If I remember, the guy runs around carrying a coffin that's also a gun. It's kind of like Devil May Cry, basically, is what I recall, with a little bit more shooting. There you go. This is coming out tomorrow on Game Pass. Too many games, says Marcus R, are too cheap these days. Not a bad thing. It just really makes a $50 price tag have to work. I agree. I absolutely agree. Jaffe loves a bunch of games that most people hate, says Mr. K, so might as well try Evil West. You'll probably like it. Right. I mean, I do, because my demands for games are very different than a lot of people. But I also would agree with Ravnos that $60, from what I'm understanding about Evil West, is too much. Just like I think $40 is probably a little too much for the new Dark Pictures game. Donova says, why does everything cost $60-$70? The pricing model needs to change. The pricing model has changed. My guess is you're only buying console games physical, because even if you just play console games, the PlayStation Store games run the gambit of, $199 all the way up to like $100+ special editions. Alex, I don't know that. Alex says Jaffe Callisto, which is also I'm excited about, coming out the 2nd of December. He says it's supposed to have be supported for many years to come. Is that true? I haven't heard that, but hopefully it is true. Also coming out tomorrow, if you have Game Pass or if you just want to pay for it, Season 3 drops for Battlefield 2042. This is coming out tomorrow if you have Game Pass Ultimate, EA Play. It also is going to be free for a week for both Xbox, PC, and Steam at certain points during the week, or during the month of December. So, and apparently these are, this is improved. It says there's a new map, there's a new specialist, new weapons, vehicles, and there's also 100 new tiers of Battle Pass content. What else? There's a new map called Spearhead, which has semi-automated manufacturing facilities. There's an Egyptian-born specialist and security expert who's the new specialist. Some of the main maps are getting reworked. And from what I'm understanding is every new season, this game gets better and better and better. So I'm very excited about it. I'm very, very excited to give it a try. I've been loving Modern Warfare and 2 and Warzone, so I'm excited to give this a shot. Matt DeMarco says, feels like digital isn't allowed to undercut physical just from looking at Black Friday digital physical. I think it depends on, if you're talking about a game that has both and it's like a major game, you're probably right. But certainly if you're buying indie games that barely have any physical, if at all, then I don't think that's the case. I mean, obviously, how could it undercut it? But Matt DeMarco says it feels, no, I just read that. I'm so sorry. Andre Gallagher says $15 UK for all the Dishonored games, and Prey on PS Store is totally a bargain. I agree. I mean, I don't like those kinds of games or those particular games. I like those kinds of games, but not those, but I know people who adore those. But anyway, so Battlefield's coming out tomorrow. Keep it in mind. I bring all this up, because I find it interesting. Hopefully you guys want to play some Battlefield with me if you're members of the show. But I also bring it up because things are changing, and I love this next story. And I haven't played it yet. Now, and by the way, I just want to address this because I'm kind of getting tired of this shit. When people say, "Oh, Jaffe, you're an Xbox shill? Why do you always take dumps on Sony? Again, I call it like I see it. Okay, Sony does a lot of amazing shit, and I talk about those things. But they also do stupid shit, and I talk about those things. Okay? In this case, I'm going to talk very briefly about Pentiment, which I have not played. I hear that it's really good. It's sitting at an 85 on Metacritic right now, which doesn't mean it's good or bad, but that's kind of the consensus at the moment. Obsidian game director who directed Pentiment, Josh Sawyer, has said, and this is why for the last couple of years, people are like, Jeffy, why are you always on about Game Pass? This is why. Obsidian game director Josh Sawyer, who made Pentiment, has said Pentiment wouldn't exist without Game Pass. I never would have proposed making Pentiment without Game Pass. Like, I literally just wouldn't have done it. I just don't think it would have been possible. Fuck you, Roman. Here we go again. You know what? If the only reason you're here, and I know there are people like this out there, and Roman, if you're one of them, you can be first in line to take a fucking hike. Because I'm tired of people going out there in the world acting like they represent the medium of video games, and really all they care about is their team winning. When you have a game that is as well reviewed and unique and strange as Pentiment, and you know good and goddamn well that game would have never been greenlit outside of a super small indie team or something like Game Pass, and you act like celebrating that is somehow negative. I don't care who does it. I don't care if it's Sony. I don't care if it's Microsoft. I care about the fucking medium. Not the game, the medium. That was not great. But the video game medium, okay? And so I talk up the things that I think are exciting. I would love to see Sony do something like this. Not with their super expensive games. You think they can afford to make Pentiment? Of course they could. Tired of it. I'm tired of it. Combat Carl says, I'm playing Pentiment right now. It's pretty solid. Not for everyone, but for those it does appeal to, it's a great game, right? Right? Thank you, Nathan. I appreciate that. Nathan says, I love Jaffe's take on gaming. Say what you will, but you can never say he isn't good faith. You goddamn right. Thank you, sir. Ahmed says, David, I hope you will stay alive. Yeah, me too, Ahmed. Do you know something I don't? I literally don't get people's hate for Game Pass as Rambling Gamer. It's so weird, man. Get a life. If you want to buy your games day one and everything, go for it. If someone would rather subscribe to games, who cares? I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't think Ahmed's making a threat. I think he's really worried about me. JW Tumbles. That's not his name. His name is JW Conglomerate, but we have a JW Tumbles franchise in the neighborhood. Been a member to Cult Calypso for 5 months. Thank you, buddy. He says, Pentiment was made by Obsidian. It only makes sense it's on Game Pass. Sure. But he's saying that he doesn't even think, he wouldn't have even proposed it if it was not on, if it was not for a service like Game Pass. That's all I'm fucking saying. It's not so much that, of course, yes, it'll be on Game Pass, JW, because they're owned by Microsoft. But as a developer, he's going, hey, I have an opportunity to make games that in the past there was no place to put them anywhere. I think that's wonderful. How can you shit on that? We're gonna get to God of War in just a second, but first, oh shit. Ooh. Nathan Nelson, thank you so much for becoming a member of the Diet Soda Soldier. Thank you, Nate the Great. I do appreciate it. Everybody welcome Nate the Great. It's very kind and it's very courteous. Thank you for joining our little merry band of fuck sticks, buddy. I appreciate it. Thanks, Nathan. Okay. I also want to remind you all, if you like the show you're watching right now, if it's making your brain feel tingly and delightful, why don't you give the show a like? Why don't you give me a sub? Why don't you even consider a membership? You know, look, we got Gabbin' and Games Thanksgiving holiday. We got a couple of things coming up this week, not just the Thanksgiving Day special. That's coming up. we also got a couple of Thanksgiving horror movies members only. So consider it. Consider a like, consider a sub, consider telling your friends is the best goddamn game show on the internet. And if you don't, all right. Beat says, Obsidian knew the game, Pentiment, would not be popular. They should have used that manpower to put out a AAA game. No, they shouldn't have. No, they shouldn't have. How in the same chat can you guys shit all over the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is made to be big ticket, big budget AAA movies, and then also go, they shouldn't make something personal and artistic that they're passionate about. They should make something AAA. Come on, man. Come on, man. And that may be true. Ahmed says they let Josh Sawyer, the director, make his dream game so he would direct Fallout New Vegas 2. Could be. Could absolutely be. Because that's how it works in Hollywood. You know, I'll make 2 of these for you. You'll let me make something for me. All right. Okay, let's talk about God of War. Let me tell you my experience with God of War at the moment. Okay, so I started playing Ragnarok, and the first couple hours I was like, it's fine. It's fine. It's obviously really well made. It feels very much like an addition, an add-on to 2018 DLC, as I've said. And that's what the trailers made it look like, and that's what it felt like. But it wasn't bad. I was just like, okay, I've done this before. And I didn't think the opening fight that everybody lost their shit about was as good as the Baldur fight. Okay. And then somewhere around hour 4, 5, 6, I really fell in love with it. Like, I really loved doing the side missions. I really loved the missions where Sindri and this other character, I'm not going to spoil it, went on an adventure. You know, I thought it was great. But I just am finishing up now the elf place with the light elves, which is still very early. And I'm finding it difficult to come back to it because the level design in that world is just sort of a spiral up, and it's kind of puzzle combat, and it just wears on you. And then you get to the top and you do what you got to do up there, and then you go down and you got to fight your way down. And it's just not as good level design, and I know it will get better because people have told me. But I've also heard that the pacing is very scattershot. Like, it gets a lot better, and then you've got this thing with the fucking yak coming up, and I've heard people say the game is too long. So I'm just kind of, on one hand, I'm curious. Even Combat Carl says, wait till you get to the yak stage. Super boring section of the story. I don't understand how you can have a super boring section of a video game anymore. You've got months, you've got years in advance to know, hey, this is boring, people. Cut it out. Fix it with the voiceover. Move on. But I'm just saying, because all that word of mouth that's out there, on one hand, I hear it's brilliant, and I have had moments where I absolutely adore it, but I've also had moments where it feels like a slog. That's the truth. I'm not being a dick. I'm not. I'm sorry if that offends you, but that's kind of how I'm feeling about it, right? And plus the NPCs solve all the puzzles. So I don't know if I'll finish this game. I don't know if I'll finish it. I might. We'll see. I'm still going to continue to play it for a little bit more, and hopefully it'll get me back in its hooks, because there was a part when I was playing about those hours I was telling you about where I was like, this is amazing. I was like, this fucking thing is just like playing in a blockbuster movie, and I love it. But it's kind of fallen off since then, and I don't want to give a game 40 hours. I just don't have time unless it's blowing me away. But anyway, I bring it up only because God of War, and again, I mean, say what you want. I'm so I don't mean to be defensive. I don't mean to harp on it. I get tired of people calling my allegiance to my friends who still work at Sony, for example, into question. I can be fans of Sony and I can love my PlayStation and still be critical. I can still bring you some news. Here's some news. Now, does this mean the sky is falling? Maybe not. Probably not. I don't know. It doesn't take into account digital, but in 2018, God of War 1, or 2018's God of War, in its second week, was incredibly strong. It held on to the top spot. It only suffered in its second week at UK box retail. This is all we have right now. It's all the figures we have right now. It fell 35% in sales week on week, which is pretty fucking good. It's pretty fucking good, okay? This week, exact same charts in the UK retail charts. God of War Ragnarok went from 1 to 4 on the charts. And the box sales, instead of falling 36% like 2018, fell 73%. Sonic Frontiers only fell 64%. So I'm not saying that. Here's what I'll say. I've read a couple of places on the internet that people are like, hey, now that the internet's had the game for a while, it's starting to feel like, is this really the 10 out of 10 game of the year that people were saying? Because on the internet, I'm hearing a lot of people saying it's great, but it is a bit of a slog. It is paced poorly, blah, blah, blah. And so maybe it's not the 10 out of 10. I don't know if that worked. That's a huge bitch. Thank you so much. Who is that? Who just signed up here? Ricky Boy. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, Sonic's multi-platform, but I'm not talking about the numbers it sold. I'm saying the numbers it dropped. 73% fall and it's still top 10, says Beats. Right. I mean, it's not like going to not make its money back. Probably already made its money back. But I do think that, here's what I'll tell you. From playing it, I don't think it's a 10 out of 10. But anyway, you're looking for real numbers. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, here I'm just reporting what I read. Thank you, Ricky Boy. Oh, he's back. There he is. Okay. In terms of other games, this is Christopher Dring over at Game Industry Biz. He says God of War Ragnarok slips to 4 after box sales. So do with it what you will. Yeah, right, Nick T. I'm not saying they might as well shut the doors. God of War did. I'm not reading your troll. Not you, Nick T. Somebody else. But I'm just saying, can some of that be attributed to digital? Of course. Absolutely. And Nathan, it's a good point. He says maybe even recency bias won't be enough to help Ragnarok beat Elden Ring. I don't know about that, but I do think coming out in 2018, God of War 2018 was so refreshing from what people had come to know as God of War that it probably is an impossible task to do as well. Although I will say that the first week of God of War Ragnarok was just massive. I mean, it was fucking huge. I think it outsold Elden Ring's first week. It outsold God of War 2018. Andre says, I think it's a red herring. We had the same discussion about Gran Turismo and sales have been consistently good. Well, let's talk about that. Let's move. We'll come back. It's not like Horizon Zero Dawn art because that was part of a bundle. In fact, let's get to that. Let's get to that because I also want to. And again, whatever. I'm done. I'm not because I'll always do it because it drives me crazy. I was gonna say I'm done making little caveats, but I'm not. I'll keep making them. Right, Alan, it outsold Modern Warfare 2 first week. No one is complaining. I'm just saying the second Ravnos, yes, all games drop second week, yes. But God of War 1 dropped 36%. This game dropped. I'm just giving you numbers. I'm not going to defend it. I'm telling you the numbers. The numbers are this game dropped 76% in the second week. The game it's a sequel of dropped 36% in the second week. I don't know what that means. That's why I bring it up. That seems pretty plungy to me. That's all I'm saying. We'll get to that. We'll get to that, Bill Bones. Bill Bones says, how did Last of Us Part 1 do? Well, my gut says probably not very good, and here's why. September 2022 NPDs in America. The Last of Us Part 1 remake opened at number 5. This is September, okay? So, it's not banger, but it's good. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Frank Vandermeer, God of War did plunge in sale. You're the one saying it's doomed. Can't stand this shit. Can't stand this shit. Last of Us Part 1 was number 5. Okay. In October, The Last of Us Part 1 is not even in the top 20. Okay? The Last of Us Part 1, if you're just looking at the PlayStation charts in September, was number 4. It didn't open at number 1, it opened at number 4. On the PlayStation charts in October, it dropped down from 4, and this is PlayStation exclusive, to number 9. So, my guess is that's probably not what Sony was looking for, but I don't know. Here's another weird one. Yeah, Novadamas says the facts are hurting my feelings. Here's another weird one. I would not have called this. I would have been a terrible executive for Warner Brothers. Gotham Knights, which I'm sure will be gone like a dodo in November in PDs, but the only ones we have are October right now. Gotham Knights premiered at number 2. So the reviews didn't harm it enough to make a goddamn cockadoodie difference. But what fascinates me is Gotham Knights, I kind of would have been like, you want to spend all that money on a game that has Red Hood, Robin, Batgirl, and I don't remember who the other one even is, Nightwing? These are all, amongst comic fans, I understand. I am a comic fan, but the number of comic fans out there are not that huge. So I don't know if people bought it because they thought it's Batman, or they bought it because there really is a lot more people that love Nightwing and Red Hood than I was aware. But coming out at number 2, that's pretty strong. That's pretty fucking strong opening. It's dead. It'll be gone next month, but that's pretty cool. Yeah, Freno Zeno says I'll play Gotham Knights when it's cheaper. As will I. Clay, who loves Batman, it sounds like, he says I bought it for my Batman fix. Okay. How is that roster any better or worse than Miles Morales' Spider-Man? Well, okay. You bring up a very good point to an extent. I would argue that Miles Morales is probably more popular than Batgirl in terms of just comic sales and sort of the success of that intellectual property. But let's assume they're exactly the same. Ultimately, though, Miles Morales is built on the back of a game that everyone loved. This is not, which is Spider-Man. And Miles Morales comes out, correctly so, and gets, I believe, better reviews than the first Spider-Man from Insomniac. It's my favorite superhero game of all time. So they had the heavy lifting done by it simply being a great fucking game. But yeah, if you're talking about just premiering on the charts, if you're basically saying you shouldn't be surprised because Miles Morales did so well, I hear you. But I also wonder, Miles was a PS5 launch title. There was a lot of other things that it was built, like I said, off the bones of a game that was already beloved from Spider-Man. I don't know if we have enough apples to apples to really make a comparison there. Hello, Roy. It's going well. Okay. The last thing I want to tell you about that. Well, and then I also want to say that Mario Rabbids Spark of Hope. I was thrilled to see that in the number 6 spot. I haven't played it. I want to play it very, very much. I hear it's just fucking great, but it's really cool to see a game like that premiere up towards the top of the charts. I don't expect it to stay up there that long. Even at that point, I mean, already Pokemon, talking about charts right now, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, biggest box game launch of the year, at least in the UK. Sales are higher than FIFA 23, which was the previous biggest. Can you guess which one sold more? Violet sold 52% of sales. Scarlet sold 42% of sales. Sonic Frontiers dropped from number 4 to number 10, 64% fall in sales. That's over in the UK. SaneNew.com says, let's say Ragnarok sold 4 million copies. 70% from 1.2 million. 70%, what? If Ragnarok sold 4 million copies, 70% drop would be 1.2 million copies. Yes. And then he says, come on now, be better. I didn't say it was a failure. I said that the drop from week 1 to 2 was pretty fucking significant, especially if you compare it to the drop from God of War 1 week 1 to God of War 2 week 1, God of War 1 week 2. That's all I'm saying. And I'm saying, what does that mean? Let's assume that all you guys who seem to have some emotional stake in protecting God of War's whatever success, hell, you'd think I would have more of a stake. You tell me then, what does it mean when a game drops that significantly? If it's not a sign of maybe word of mouth hit it the second week, or maybe that was real front loaded, right? I don't know. Ahmed says it's a Last of Us 2 situation. What does that even mean? A lot of people attribute Last of Us 2 not selling as well as they hoped to the leaks, and to it being, I hate this word, quote, woke. Well, God of War is not those things. Why are we talking about this? What's the end game? I don't know. Why do you come to the stream, Nick? Because we talk about games. We talk about design, the business. I'm interested in this. How can you not be interested in a game that everyone is talking about game of the year, that had insane sales last week, that is the sequel to what a lot of people say is a game of a generation? I wouldn't say that, but I would say it was fucking awesome, the 2018 God of War. How do you take all of that and then say, oh, but look at the week 2? And not go, why are we talking about this? Because that's interesting. What is that? It can mean a lot of things. I want to know what it means. If you don't, I respect that, but I find it interesting. Fanboys don't want to hear you smear their game. This is not the place for fanboys, Masochista. If you're a fucking fanboy, please, you can be a fan of something. I'm a fanboy of Snap, but I don't care if you don't like it. Mr. Sarcastic, I've already done this, man. He says, look at the box office drops, Jaffe. I understand. I literally said I was comparing God of War week 2 to God of War Ragnarok week 2. I was comparing Sonic Frontiers week 2 to God of War week 2. Everything drops the second week, but there's a difference between a game that holds or a movie that holds and a movie that drops to suggest that it's front loaded. So if you're suggesting, oh yes, Jaffe, we're saying it was front loaded and now it's just going to get really slow, but it'll eventually break, I don't know, 20 million, but it'll take 4 years. Cool. That's what I want to talk about. That's what I want to know. That's what I'm curious about. What am I doing for Thanksgiving? Did it sell more than week one? It did. It absolutely did. But it also dropped by more than half or double of week two. God of War versus Pokemon. I think Pokemon sold more according, at least the data we have in the UK. Okay. Let's move on. Oh, Thanksgiving. What am I doing for Thanksgiving? We're having people come over here. And then we're doing, we're doing food. And then we'll probably, I'm going to do a stream that morning. I always do a Thanksgiving Day special. That'll be in the morning. And then we'll do our Thanksgiving dinner, lunch, whatever we do. And we'll play some games. And then we may go out and see the Fablemans. At least, maybe we'll do it on Thanksgiving. We might wait till the weekend. We're not sure. I don't cook. No, none of us are cooking. We're ordering from like Urban Plates and Trader Joe's and Buco de Beppo's. Okay. Did you see the tweet? The Rock responded saying, "Don't compare Black Panther to Black Adam." I didn't see the tweet, but why would you? Why would anyone compare those two things? Okay, let's move forward. The Last of Us numbers, that's interesting though. I think I don't eat meat, no. Last of Us remake, I wonder if Sony's going to look at this now and say, oh, maybe we need to rethink these remasters. Because that's, it probably didn't cost a shit ton to make comparatively to like a new AAA, but dropping from 4 to 9 on the PlayStation charts and dropping out of the top 20 on the PlayStation charts, that's kind of, that's weird. Listen to this. Talk about, this annoyed me. Yes, Jeffy, we know. Hang on. I do not think Ragnarok is mediocre. I don't think you can really fight that fight. I think it's got problems with pacing. Hang on a second. Yeah, I got some more stuff, but I don't want to talk about that anymore. Let's just chat. Let's just chat, shall we? Let's just chat. I'm done with the news of games. I mean, I'll answer your gaming questions if you have any. I'll put on the red phone if you want to call me, talk live as pals do. But I'm not really in the mood to read news anymore. It's the way I feel. It's the way I feel. Look what you guys have done. Hang on. Let me turn on the red phone. 1 second. Don't call yet because it ain't going to answer if you want to call. All right. It's coming up. Yeah, we'll talk about Twitter. Talk about whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. It's free chat. In fact, I'll tell you what. We'll take like a 2-minute break. Okay, Mr. K says, if Ragnarok sold more cumulatively in its first 2 weeks than 2018, that makes the drop completely irrelevant. No, it really doesn't. It doesn't. Because ultimately, if you have sold more or the same number, ultimately, yes, the money is what's important. But it would suggest a ceiling on God of War that didn't really manage to grow meaningfully because of the 2018 game. That would be a concern, I would imagine, if that's what actually happened. Little Devil Inside, not in a while. Hang on, let me get this phone working 1 second. I haven't seen Nope yet. I want to see it. 1 sec, fellas. I'm sorry. Give me a second. Settings. Okay, that's... Okay. Almost there. So if you want to call on your phone, the number's up there. If you want to call on the Discord, you can do that as well. I will put myself into the room. Well, there's P Turtle already waiting to jump on in here. Here's what I'm going to do. We're going to take a break, not a long break today. The second part of this, though, when I come back, will be for members only to watch later. Right now, if you're watching, you don't have to pay anything. It's free. But I'm going to take like I got to pee and get a Diet Coke. I'll be right back. We'll take P Turtle's call. We'll take your calls. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. But I do like the, what's that game called? Vampire Survivors. Yeah. I mean, it's not for everyone, but I like it because it's fun. It's simple. It's addictive. Okay. I'll be right back. Hey, fellas. So if you've reached this point, thanks for watching. As long as you have, I sure do appreciate that. You've reached the end of the free content of this episode of Gabbin' Games. If you're considering a membership, now's the time. A lot of tiers, a lot of good opportunities amongst the tiers to do different things with us, play video games on game night, watch movies on movie night, have access to all the videos and a bunch more fun stuff that we do throughout the month. If not a big deal. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate, oh my God, I can't even talk. I'm the goddamn moron. I appreciate you being part of our community. I hope to see you on the next live stream. In the meantime, be well. Have a happy Thanksgiving. If you're listening to this when I'm recording it, which is a few days before 2022's Thanksgiving. And yeah, I hope life is great. If not, keep plugging away, baby. It'll get there. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out with us. See you soon. Bye.